What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another SLA video. Alright, a lot of you guys have been asking for this, and I've already done a video about it, but I'm going to do an update video because we have a couple more things now to add to the list. And of course, we're on global, so I got to reach a bigger audience. We're going to be talking about debuffs, how they all work, and which ones stack, which ones don't, and what you want to focus on when you are bringing a team into a battle. So I'm going to be showing you guys some tests, and we're going to start off with the notorious defense down debuff. Now, if you guys are aware, defense down works a certain way. When you apply it, it'll actually end up hitting an opponent, causing a little shield, a red shield to happen. Does it stack? Let's talk about that first. Okay, so first off, there's a couple units that do defense down, and I'm going to show you guys which ones those units are, and then we're going to show you guys whether they stack or not and how it probably works. Actually, as a matter of fact, how it actually does work, not probably works. So let's go ahead and put in the defense down units. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take out everybody. We know that Choi does defense down, and we know that our boy Beck does defense down. Okay, we're going to use those two, and we're going to use Sun Jin-woo here as well too. All right, so we're going to jump into the bear fight. Now, defense down applies a couple different ways. Choi does a defense down 15%. Beck does 20%. Shadow Step does 60%. Does it all apply? Now, real quick before I do this part, I'm going to tell you guys this ahead of time. Because of Choi's weapon, you're going to see a second break when he comes in, all right, with his QT or with his support. And that second break, or even when he does his QT, I apologize, not in this mode, but when you use him in Hunter mode, you're going to see a second break when Choi comes in. And it's a very fast move. What it does is, if you have his weapon, is it increases the amount of damage fire does. It's the same icon though as the defense break, so keep that in mind. It's actually not a stackable defense. I'm going to move on to another bleed, all right? So again, defense down, and then boom, defense down, right? You guys can see that only one defense down applies, but the one that applied last, which was the strongest one, is the one that will remain. All right, just everyone's on clear with that. So defense does not stack. Defense down does not stack. There's no need to bring multiple defense down units. This is why it's good on the dragon fight, for example, to bring different units for different teams that do defense down in order to give you guys more of an advantage overall in battle. All right, so there you guys go. Defense down is done. All right, everybody, now we're going to talk a little bit about another debuff called Bleed. Now, Bleed does damage based on the opponent's current HP. So Tashik here does 0.6%, Beck does 1%, and the Shadows do their own. The only ones that will stack are the Hunters, won't stack together. Only one takes over. So in this case, SM Beck will take over Tashik because it's higher. The Shadows, in fact, will stack with either of those. So whoever you have, it will stack. And then the Kasaka Blades also stack. So there's three different sources with three different bleeds that you can stack. Now with Hunter mode, obviously I'm not going to be able to show you the Kasaka Blades, but I will show you guys that these two do not stack as Hunters. So there's no point in bringing both of them. If you have one, just bring one. Don't bring both. And then also note that the Shadows will in fact stack with them. Okay, so here's one bleed right there. I'm going to want to bring in SM Beck for a sec. I'm going to show you guys his bleed, okay? Now look, normally you would see two bleeds right there, but right, we only see one. Now if I bring in the Shadows, you guys will see that Igris also causes a bleed sometimes when he attacks. Let's just see if he gets it off. Hopefully he does. And that way I can show you guys that all three of them both of them will stack. But it all depends if he actually gets it off or not. There it is. Okay, there you go. So you guys can see Shadows will in fact stack with it. Now, like I mentioned to you before, the Kasaka Blades will also stack with this, and I can show you guys that real quick. Right, we'll do a quick one with the player, so you guys can see bleeds do in fact stack when you're using three different sources. So let's go back to our poor little Yogi the Bear here, who gets abused for all my testing. Pretty much everyone's testing, as a matter of fact. So let's go ahead and put in Tashik. That's all that really matters at this point. And I'm going to take out one of these weapons. We're going to put the Kasaka Blades in. Where are you? There we go. Now, Kasaka Blades have a chance to bleed, obviously, but here, I'll show you guys either way, right? We'll do all three of them. So you'll see Tashik come in. So I'll apply the Kasaka Blades first, just so it's easier to note. And then you'll see the bleed from him, and then you'll see the bleed from Igris, okay? So let's go ahead and do this. Let's take auto off for summoning units, so we don't actually summon. Okay, let's go ahead and do this real quick. Okay, so you guys see no Kasaka Blades bleed there. Okay, so we're going to have to do it again. There is a chance only, so it's a pretty fast cast, though, so not a big deal. Okay, first bleed. Second bleed. And now you guys are aware, obviously, Igris will bleed as well. So once he decides to do it, you'll see a third bleed. Alright? Hopefully he lands it, but he may not because of this move. He may not land it, which sucks if he doesn't. Yeah, he might not land it here. But you guys understand that the Shadow will in fact stack. We showed it in the last one, right? So Yeah, he didn't get a chance to do it. Okay, that's fine. So there you guys go. So 3 different sources will in fact stack 100%. I promise you guys that one. Okay, so there's that testing right there. All right, we're gonna move on to the next debuff. Okay, guys, now that we got bleed out of the way, next up we got our favorite pyros. All right, we're gonna be using Choi, Emma, and Joe to see if burn stacks and whether it is something you guys can actually use to do a little bit more damage. So let's go ahead and put in all of our burns. So we got Emma, Choi, and Joe. That's right, Joe's making an appearance. Now you guys can see here, Joe does in fact have light damage, but one of his skills does actually do burn. Where is it? Right here. The support skill does burn, but he also does burn on other skills as well too, like his QTE, for example. So we're going to bring him in with a QTE just so he can do the burn. So actually, let's put him second, because Emma will do burn anyways, and I'll show you guys if it stacks or not, and whether it's worthwhile having 3 burn units in one squad. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring in Emma first. Let's cause our first burn, and then show you guys whether this is worthwhile having multiple burn units. And you guys will be surprised on some of these debuffs, right? After this one, we're going to test the most important one. I think that's the one that most people will be interested in my opinion at least. So let's go ahead and do this move here, and then this here should cause our first burn. So there we go, first burn there. You know Joe is going to come in QTE and try to burn. There's the second burn. See that? It does stack. So let's bring in Choi. Now, where does Choi fit in all this for burning? Let's take a look to see if there is a third burn. Look at that, guys. All 3 burns in fact stack, and you can see here they do tick for quite a bit of damage, right? So 1, 3, 2, and you guys can see here, depending on the unit that did it, the burn does in fact is affected by attack, right? So it's very, very important to note that burn is very powerful when you have all 3 units casting it non-stop. So remember that it can do quite a bit of damage, especially if the opponent's or the unit's HP is high, or whatever they scale off of is high. So there you go, there's the third burn, and we're back to business, right? So back to doing this again. And yeah, so burn is very powerful, guys. It's worth having 3 burn units together to watch that damage just tick away. Look at that, 3, 1, 7, 3, 7. And again, you guys can see Choi's is the strongest, obviously, because it scales off of their attack. Very powerful. All right, there's burn, guys. So use that to your advantage when you can. All right, everybody, before I finish up the last testing, couple notes to just talk about real quick. Okay, first off, poison. There are 3 different sources of poison currently in the game. The first one is from Ana Ruiz, which is a poison zone, not to be mistaken by Han Sung-Yi's poison, which is completely different. Her poison is different as well too, and the Kasaka Blade's poison are different. So currently I don't know if poison will stack, because the 3 different sources of poison are all completely different, and they work in a way different fashion. So unfortunately, poison is not something I can test at the moment until we get more poison units. I want to get that one out of the way. The other one I want to get out of the way as well too is going to be freeze. Just so everyone's aware, with freeze, there is a diminishing return. You can only freeze an opponent X amount of times before they are immune to freeze for X amount of time. So we're not going to bother testing freeze. You can do that testing yourself. Just bring 1 freeze unit. That's all you really need, and a freeze weapon if you want. Your choice. Now this test here is an important one, okay? Because this test here is going to show whether branded, punishment, and charm work together. Now, if you don't know how this works, branded gives you guys crit hit rate and crit damage, so we know that'll stack for sure, right? It's a unique skill only by Cha. The 2 that I'm more concerned with are punishment and charm, because both of them do 15% more damage on the opponent. When we tested this in Globe or in early access, it did stack, but it didn't actually cause extra 30%. It only caused a 15. So I'm going to show you guys how this works. Okay, we're going to do this one a little bit more diligently, and first off, we're going to see if all 3 of them stack. Then we're going to reset, and we're going to try something else after that. Okay, so let's do that first. Do all 3 stack, just so you guys have that information. All right. So first off, summon Cha. Okay, branded is there, charmed is there, punishment is there. Okay, we know now all 3 stack. All right, so now we have all 3 debuffs on the opponent. Now we're gonna do this one at a time. I'm not gonna bother with branded. I know, I just want to see if it's stacked, and it does. Okay, so we know that one's good. Now what we're gonna focus on, does charm and punishment actually stack? So first we're gonna do a quick little test with just regular basic damage. Okay, or you know what, we'll do basic damage. Do basic damage, easier this way. Okay, so basic damage, 5,000, 7,000 crits, 8,000, so 61k. Let's just see if the damage goes up. Okay, we're gonna just take a look. I'm gonna even switch the scythe, make it easier. Here, we'll do scythe damage instead. Okay, so let's see now. If I do punishment, we should see an increase, fairly large increase. There, that's a huge increase right away. You can tell. Okay. I'll take a look frame by frame, okay guys? I'm gonna wait till Min's back up and we're gonna check again. So frame by frame, we're gonna see it. 1750 was pretty low for punishment to be on there. So now the debuff is off, okay? So now we're gonna check if they both work together. There's punishment. There's charm. Now let's see if it stacks. Again, I'm gonna look frame by frame. And quite honestly guys, it doesn't look like it actually does stack. Like, look at this. It should be 30% more damage technically. And I'm not seeing a 30% damage increase. On basic attacks, it looks like it's just basic. Like, it looks like a normal damage increase. Let's try it again. Let me know if anybody else has done this testing at all. I'm curious to see what you guys find. Here's Charm. Again, Charm, great. So same damage increase here as punishment. Now if I throw punishment in here, I should see way bigger numbers, right? Ideally, you should see way bigger numbers. But I don't. So I don't think the stacks, guys. The numbers look very similar as they were before. So I feel like the source here is telling me something, that these two may not stack. Now again, if you guys are testers or if you guys are into testing, let me know what you guys see, because I'm curious to see if your numbers look any different than mine. Right? So yeah, I don't know guys. This one looks like it might not stack. I'm still inconclusive on this one. I think this one needs a little bit more testing. So I'm going to do this a little bit on the side, and maybe I'll get back to you guys on whether this in fact does stack. Unless you guys have some numbers for me, you guys can share. I'm more than happy to credit you. But from what I'm seeing here, guys, honestly, it doesn't look like it stacks. Because I should be seeing way bigger numbers when these two are cast. But I'm not saying way bigger numbers. What I'm seeing is my expert set going up in damage and causing way more damage with Sun, right? But not actual like 30% damage increase. So there you guys go. I don't think that one works, to be honest. Just my take on it, but I'll have to do a little bit more testing. But there's the most important debuffs, guys, in a nutshell. Please use them wisely. Don't stack. Don't bring units that you think will stack their debuffs, because they won't. But bleeds, for example, are not bad from 3 different sources. You can definitely use all three hunter burns, which work really well. Poisons, again, inconclusive because we don't have enough poison units with the same poison sources. And then lastly, charm and punishment does stack, but it doesn't look like the numbers actually increase by 30%. It just looks like both debuffs are there, and perhaps they work the same way and they're just not working together, which they actually should, and that would be freaking broken if they did. Alright guys, again, if you have any numbers on those, please let me know. This is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.